This is the third in a series of short films about the process of composing a new clarinet quintet for Linda Merrick and the Kreutzer Quartet. In this film, I will look more closely at how the collaborative process shaped the piece, which was commissioned with generous support from the Marchus Trust. Collaboration isn't just a case of writing music and sending it off to the performers. There are relationships, reputations, time and energy involved, so trust and clear communication are essential. There also needs to be a genuine enthusiasm for a shared purpose. My collaboration with the Kreutzer Quartet, especially with quartet leader Peter Shepherd-Skeover, spans more than 2 decades. We've worked together in places like Tate Modern, the RA, and Anthony Gormley's studio. The Kreutzers have also worked with Linda Merrick to create an important series of clarinet quintets commissioned from leading composers, so bringing these 2 strands together felt both natural and timely. Linda's research at the Royal Northern College of Music focuses on the performer-composer relationship, especially in new clarinet and string repertoire, looking at performer agency, idiomatic writing, and how long-term collaborations between composers and performers shape the creative process and artistic outcomes. Writing a quintet for Linda meant stepping into a substantial and rather daunting body of work commissioned from composers like John McCabe, Michael Finnessy, Martin Ellaby, David Horn and Gary Carpenter. Both Linda and Peter had suggested that I might explore the low Chalumeau register, something less prominent in earlier works, which resonated well with the dark, glowing textures of the Kiefer painting I was responding to. I took useful lessons from the earlier pieces. McCabe's La Donna leans towards a segmented Stravinskian form, with motivic recurrence and some opposition between clarinet and strings. Finnessy's Clarinetta Liederkreis presents a more seamless, through-composed arc, with the clarinet woven into a subtle, lyrical contrapuntal fabric. Ellaby's Epitaph 7 Memento is cast in a 9-movement arch form, where the clarinet takes the role of a narrator, moving through different expressive areas. David Horn's Different Ghosts explores 7 ghostly characters with microtones and extended techniques, fully integrated into its richly atmospheric sound world, markedly different in style from the other quartet commissions and from mine. All of these influenced how I thought about the structure, texture, and the clarinet's role in the ensemble in different ways. However, I also needed much more detailed input from Linda. Without her patient and precise feedback, it's likely that the piece would have included moments that were unplayable or at least unnecessarily difficult. In January 2025, I sent Linda snapshots of my early materials, 2 generative ideas and 9 developments. She responded quickly, pointing out some passages that were unidiomatic. One sketch used leaps that were brilliant in my mind's ear, but were just not effective in reality. It was easy enough to collapse the intervals and retain the energy I had intended. I had also forgotten to transpose the clarinet part, a huge oversight that, if left uncorrected, would have wasted a lot of Linda's time. She also mentioned that double-tonguing as I had written it wouldn't work well, which gave me the nudge I needed to remove a passage I wasn't convinced by anyway. Between January and April, I worked through 4 drafts. By the time I sent her a full prototype in late April, I flagged a few potential issues, particularly breath control and the use of a multiphonic. Linda tactfully suggested that the clarinet part was still too continuous and needed breathing spaces. I went through the score, inserting rests at phrase ends and reassigning clarinet material to the strings, especially in slower and lower sections. In one case, I even gave the clarinet's fugue entry to the cello. These changes actually improved the pacing and the texture of the piece. But by early June, it became clear that I still hadn't done enough. Linda noted that the long, slow clarinet passages remained tiring, and that this would affect tone and stamina. I revised 2 large sections, reassigning more material to the quartet. Again, the revisions didn't just solve the practical problems, they improved the music significantly. There was also the question of the multiphonic. I'd left space to work this out collaboratively, but Linda wondered whether it might seem out of place in a piece that was otherwise conventionally written. I thought about it carefully, and I came to agree, especially in light of David Horn's masterly treatment of fully integrated extended techniques. It turned out that the passage did work better without it. It's always harder to make substantial changes once a piece is finished and rehearsal is underway. Working with performers throughout the process is infinitely preferable, and in this case incredibly rewarding. To work with musicians who are curious, generous and rigorous at this level of detail is a real privilege, and it has a substantial impact upon the outcome of the composing process. It has been a huge honour to be part of such a prestigious and important series of commissioned clarinet quintets.